but we are going to do both.
And it's significant that this film has even the first part had lots and lots of VFX, computer-generated images. So this kind of film lends itself to going one step further.
Sorry, I didn't ask.
Well, this allows you to go into virtual reality that much easier because you're already generating a lot of the content.
Yes, yes, definitely. We have generated a lot of digital assets. We already have the physical assets like the sets and the props, and most importantly, we have the Bible of the film. So Baahubali is not just the film. We have much more deep-rooted characterization, stories, backstories, everything. Baahubali, the film, is just one offshoot of the Bible. So so we have already created all that stuff. So Baahubali, the VR film, is going to be another offshoot of that huge treasure cove even underneath. So that really helps because having all that beforehand, it's in a way it is only possible for us because we have all those things ready available and we have close association with AMD. We are one of the few lucky people to have all that to create something like this without any of this, right from what do you say, from zero, start from zero. It would be impossible to do it because we already have all this. We are able to do it.
But that's clearly going to help you a lot. Having thought and planned as much as possible beforehand, I get that.
I just want to jump in to finish the thing in there though. Like he said, he cares about kind of what he wants to get done, right? But if you see the assets that are created for the film, right? So the film rendering, each frame of that movie took 24 hours to render. Okay, in VR, we need to do that in 9 milliseconds. Okay, so 24 hours to 9 milliseconds, there is a huge, bridge to, to get there. So it does sound crazy, right? So it does sound like, easy in terms of, hey, we have the assets, but bringing that assets to real time is a huge challenge. But that's what excites us from kind of, the technology and engineering side, and also the technicians that are working on the project, and actually some of them are here. They are super excited. Is how are we going to bring that to real time, to milliseconds, right? So that's the journey we are on.
Thank you for that. It's a big acceleration. But you've also told me that you don't want to just make a theme park ride. You've chosen, I believe, a battle sequence, the climax of the movie. That's got to be extremely complicated.
Yes, from a technical challenge perspective, it is extremely challenging, right? And frankly, that's what we want to do, right? If you want to create something that people have never seen before, both the people in the industry and the regular users just need to drop. That's the goal that we have, right? And I think we can pull it off, but it needs collaboration. It needs very tight collaboration between how the content is going to be shot, and what the story is, and what the tools we're going to use, and who the technicians are. And I also want to mention that I think part of this process is finding the right people, and we are fortunate, both inside AMD and some of the people we are collaborating with outside AMD and at the production house. There is an amazing team on this thing. I think we are confident we are going to pull off, but like with anything that you have never done before, we probably are crazy. We have no idea what we're talking about. So, but you will see that next year.
More and more movies these days use pre-visualization in the production process anyway. How are you using previs differently to make VR?
And actually, let me pass this to Rajmouli because he's been involved with the previous.
Like when we the first thought when we thought of making the VR film is that for everyone to be on the same page, we need to do we need to do a previs. So everyone said, yeah, let's do a previs, but we didn't know how to make a previs for VR. So it's when the first previses came, it was quite confusing because for example, the camera is moving, so we don't know whether the camera is moving or it's supposed to be the viewer who is moving his head. The biggest challenge in VR is that we are giving the camera to the viewer. So it was quite confusing. We can see the story is happening, but it was also throwing in more questions. How we are, it's more confusing. So luckily, we all sat together just yesterday in Cannes here. We all sat together, had a long talk, and as we were talking, the questions were unraveling themselves, and we had much more clear idea. Previs is basically that, pre-visualizing the final product. That is what previs is. So when the questions, when we have the basic idea, basic previs there, and we all put our heads together and talk about how it is going to happen, then we are more clear about how it's going to happen in the final picture.
Got it. And how long is the sequence going to be that you're going to make?
It is not a linear narrative, so we are making it more interesting for the user, because every time he's going to watch the film, it's going to be different. He's not going to watch the same story again and again. He has the choice of taking different parts in the story and watch a completely new story. Starting and ending will be the same, but the paths will be different and he has the ability to choose. Each time, probably we have about 8 to 10 minutes. Each duration will be different, and I think it will be 8 to 10 minutes will be the length.
And could you stay in it longer? I mean, you can go round and round. Or is it always going to be 8 minutes?
It depends upon the path that the viewer is going to choose. He will be able. He can see the film in 4 different ways, 4 different ways. So each time it is going to be different.
It will be the maximum of 10 minutes. That's what.
What are the 4 different ways?
The parts that you have, the viewer has a control.
So
4 options.
Linear-ish.
Yeah. You have choices to make, and depending on the choice you make, what you do is.
So it's a bit like filling in your tax form. If you did this, you go that way.
Yeah. If you do a stupid thing, then we go quickly.
I've seen my tax form.
I'd like to add a quick note on the previs. One of the things on the previs actually that I want to share is that we are using a game engine to do the pre-visualization. In fact, we have John Griffith sitting right in front here. He did all the previs work on that. And the use of game engine in previs also gives the flexibility to change all the different camera paths and other things much more conveniently, much more real time, right? So that's the kind of connection back to how you're using real time technologies to make this aspect. So that was one of the key central aspects of for this previs. We are adopting game engines and the best in quality game engines that deliver great visuals as well.
Is this adding time to the production? Is it going to take you an extra month, 2 months, 3 months, or are we able to do it all simultaneously and keep to the original schedule?
It's simultaneous, definitely simultaneous, but at the same time it will take, I think, a couple of months more, apart from the film.
So you have not had to push back the release date because of the...
No, because we were planning it from almost a year by now, so we are integrating both.
Shobhan, question for you. How is this going to be exploited? How are you going to show this?
Like everything else, we are working on that. But like I said earlier,
Trying to pin you down.
the idea is to take it to. It's not like definitely it's not going to be a Google Cardboard, or it's not going to be an app that you want to or you can download, because that I believe will not give you the experience that we are hoping for. So we will probably do that, but that will be the downstream. But the initial stage is that we put it up in a public place like a mall or a theater lobby spaces, and have it like a kiosk kind of a thing with the most high-end hardware and headsets running it, and so the people actually come and experience it there.
So kiosks or sort of personalized movie theaters?
Yes, yeah. They basically it's like a high-end computer system, and like what we have out there that we have demoed there. What AMD is demoing the Paranormal Activity. So it's something like that, but in a much larger, much more higher volume scenario.
And how many of those are you going to have?
If what I plan happens, I'm looking at least 100 to 200 theaters, locations, with between 5 and 10 installation, 5 and 10 headsets.
In India?
In India, yes.
So when we come to the film being exploited elsewhere, is this something that automatically comes with the rights that you're selling, or do they have to buy those extra?
No, it doesn't come with the rights. That's a different whole business model that it goes through. But we would like our partners to be a partner in that as well, and hopefully they would be. But the thing is, we have a huge fan base in India, and the fans want want to be immersed in the content. There's a lot of this is one way of giving the fan base something more than just a film. Fans of the film, something more. And so I think we want to start off in India, where we have the whole critical mass and the whole volume of excited people, and then probably spread the excitement to the rest of the world.
Well, I know Mr. Rajamouli has lots and lots of online followers. I'm sure you can drum up an audience. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. But we already hinted that Indian film is traditionally not released nationwide. Are you going nationwide, and are you going to have to do this in different languages?
The VR experience? The VR experience, we are trying to keep it language independent of language. Yes, it will be nationwide, like the film itself, because this is one of the few, maybe the only regional film that has transcended all state boundaries and has worked across the country, and we want to keep it the same for the VR experience.
And are people going to have to pay to go into these kiosks?
Yeah, that's what we're planning. We want to make it a paid experience, and so the challenge is to make an experience compelling enough that that audience will pay for it and feel gratified after the end of the experience, and come back or hopefully tell a few friends. Yeah.
You know what my next question is? How much is it going to cost?
That's the trickiest part. We have not figured it. It's a learning curve, and I think it'll be a trial and error. We need to figure it out. We'll be I'm struggling with that question till the very end.
Okay, I think I'm gonna put my microphone aside and throw this open to hopefully the roving microphone and someone who might have a question. Who's going to be there? Let's get the microphone down the front. It's coming.
Hi. And thanks for the first part of the movie. It was really great. I had a question maybe for you and from AMD concerning the VR experience. You mentioning that you're trying to push the limit and have like a really high-end for the next year experience, especially if you pay for it in a theater or something. And you want to mix live action within a game engine. So far, I know you haven't shot it yet, but what's the main challenges for you? What you expect to be like the most difficult thing to achieve to merge these two different?
Actually, your question itself has the answer. That's the most difficult one, combining the live action with the with the CGI imagery in a 360-degree picture maybe the most difficult thing. But I don't know how they are going to do that, how the technical people are going to do it.
You don't have solutions yet.
No, they have the solution theoretically. They haven't done that yet themselves. Like all the technical people, they have theoretical solutions for many of the problems. But when the actual problem arrives, then they sit together, break their heads together, and get the answer. But very frankly, I don't know how they are going to achieve it.
Let's go there.
As a corollary to that question, is it going to be a volumetric film, do you think?
The question is it going to be volumetric film? I don't know the definition of a volumetric film, but you can call it computer games volumetric films with interactivity, right? So in that sense, it'll be fully immersive, fully CG, fully interactive.
But the live action parts when you
so that's the technical challenge he was talking about, how we are going to capture the live actors, and there are multiple mechanisms, right? And I often joke saying that all problems come down to artists asking me give me lots and lots of memory and we'll solve every problem for you, right? So it may be as brute force as that. And one of the things with what Shobhu was talking about, and the reason why we want it to be a contained experience is that we can control the hardware, right? And it's basically whatever the experience needs, right? If it needs, 20 teraflops of GPU and whatever, like 32 gigabytes of memory inside the GPU and 1 terabyte SSD with each system, we can do that. Right, so it's but we want to deliver that compelling experience. If you're trying to do it as a download for anybody to experience, we can't control the experience, and that's one of the reasons why we want to take it to a theater in a very contained form.
Right, go ahead, please. Sir.
Yes. Congratulations with the success of your film. And I'm happy for your family that it is a success. The experience is that second parts of film is not getting better. And we are talking about a lot of technical parts of what the future is going to give us. And who's going to take care that we are getting a good story?
That's me. With all the technical jargon that goes on, I relatively keep myself free from all of that. My only thought would be whether the story and that I'm writing is compelling to the audience or not, or whether it's compelling to me or not. Am I getting excited going through the story again and again? The same kind of excitement, whether it's exciting me to the same level as the first time or not, is my only concern. So once I complete my story, once I go through it again and again, if I feel it exciting, then I put it across. I'm relatively free of all the technical jargon. I just keep myself loosely understanding what's going to happen technically. But my whole focus is on the story, so I'm responsible for that.
Any storytelling frustrations so far that you've come across?
My frustrations comes with the technicians, not with the story. Probably it's vice versa. They also feel frustrated with me because I keep asking them to deliver more and more, asking them to do impossible things in very limited time. And so the frustrations is with the technicians, not with the story.
I can speak on behalf of all the technicians on the thing, and also to answer your question, yes, basically, the biggest challenge for this project, having seen him work for several years, is that it's not going to end until the picture that is in his head is made. right? And that's not an easy problem. I can tell you it will be till the last moment. So whatever is in his head, until that's achieved, it doesn't matter kind of, what technical issues we have to, encounter. Now the problem is translating what's in somebody's head to words and even rhythm hasn't been invented. So if the next piece of technology we need is somehow take a picture of what's in his head. If he can get that picture exactly right today, it'll help us all, people on the technical side. But it'll take many iterations of actually, getting, we have to produce something, and then he has to see it, and he has to say, no, this is not really what's in my head. And it's a hugely iterative process. And while it's kind of, I can joke say it's frustrating, but ultimately it's rewarding in the end, because we know that what the output that comes in the end is always compelling, is always good. So it's a process, and we have seen that the story never gets lost. As technicians, we actually wish sometimes the story gets lost so that we can move on to the next frame or the next thing. But that's life.
You said it's a process, and we've heard that a number of times today. Isn't that a problem in making this VR segment of the film? Because the technology is changed from the time you decide today the story to the time you actually get to shoot it. By the time we get to see it a few months later, it'll be old technology.
Yeah, actually that's a great, really good question, Patrick, because so what we're doing is we are actually using technology that doesn't exist yet, right? So, we are actually projecting forward, even with the, some of the camera techniques, some of the software that we're bringing to forth, and also some of the kind of the computer hardware that we plan to use to deploy doesn't actually exist today, but we know it's coming, and that's actually the part of the collaboration is figuring that out, that stuff out that we're doing.
So you're not limited by the technology of May 17.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Did you want to add some more?
Yeah, the same thing. What the story or the imagery that I'm asking for is that they have to build the technology now. Now they have to. I'm asking them to make imagery with the technique that is projected to be 1 or 2 years later. So they are going to build it now and make it happen. So by the time the film releases, we are slightly ahead of times, actually.
Any more questions from the floor? We can't see anything, believe it or not, because we're looking into the lights.
Any questions from online?
Yeah, that's right. We have online as well. Great.
There's some questions. Should I read them out?
You're going to have to.
Oh, okay. How do you see virtual reality enhancing the moviegoer's experience of Baahubali? That's what.
Simple and direct question. Good one.
Two answers to that question is, first is like we have already talked about it. It's not an offshoot of the film. So it is completely different from the film. It is from the same seed of Baahubali, but when you see the VR film, it's like you are watching another film with the same characters. You are going to watch another story, but it will be much more enhanced. If you see the film, you will see the imagery in a certain way, and when you go and see the same another story based on the same characters, you will be watching it in a completely different way, much more enhanced, much more bigger, and much more immersive. So if you watch the VR film alone, it will be great. If you watch the VR film after watching Baahubali, it will be even more greater.
There's another question here. I'm not quite sure I understand it, but I think I'm going to pose it to you anyway. How do you see VR integrated into everyday life?
That's the largest.
I think there are many ways VR will be integrated into everyday life, and I can kind of talk all night long about that. But fundamentally, the one aspect that I'm most excited about, right, kind of beyond, the entertainment and immersive applications is being able to actually kind of transport myself. Us having this conversation, if you were in Cannes and I'm in San Francisco, and if we could still have this kind of a conversation, that's one of the possibilities with VR that I'm personally super excited that will let us kind of virtually travel to different places and meet people as if we are sitting in front of each other. So that I think is the most profound stuff. But there are other things outside entertainment, and education is the one that is the thing that I think is just definitely going to revolutionize how people learn in the future.
Well, I mean, this has been one of the biggest criticisms of VR to date, that we can seemingly imagine medical, architectural, gaming uses, and entertainment seems to be the hardest bit of all. That's the least convincing case so far.
Actually, I don't think entertainment is the hardest case of all. Actually, entertainment is a very, I'd say, enjoyable thing that will help us build all of these tools and technologies so that we can do kind of like real transportation of ourselves and also education. I often see the kids of this day, including myself, are the most kind of say attention deficit disorder people in the world, right? With all the technology. And the thing about VR, when you immerse yourself, you cut the the external stimuli that distracts you. So I think that aspect. How do you bring education? Because we've been teaching kids the same way for 400 years. Actually, even with the digital media, online stuff and all, the fundamental education mechanism hasn't changed. If you think about it with VR, you can change it. It's like I want to learn about a car. I can be inside an engine, right, and look at actually how the engine works. I want to learn chemistry. I want to learn all of my chemistry sitting inside a chemistry lab that I have access to, that I can mix and match anything I want without causing damage and without causing money. So that's the kind of learning that I want to do, that I think actually is fundamentally going to change how people are going to learn in the future.
I think all the other online questions we've kind of covered. Are there any more in here? If not, we'll wrap it up, and I'll leave you with one tiny little reminder. There is a market screening of Baahubali, the beginning, this evening at 8 o'clock, I believe. 8:30. 8:30. Thank you very much indeed for being with us.